What's going on, everybody down here? And we're going to do our distribution update. And before I get into it, first of all, as it relates to 30th, there's some messages out there with stores saying that we're getting three times as much as we got before and this and that. I actually misspoke last night. So the goal of the Pokemon company, and I'm going to go on a rant, and then we'll get into this real quick, was to print approximately 1.1 million packs, starting in June, going through effectively November. So 180-day period. So if you do the math, and again, they're running 24/7, 2 12-hour shifts, et cetera, it comes out to somewhere around 180 million packs. Now, I don't believe they've hit those numbers yet. They've had some challenges. But ultimately, it works out to approximately 6 million booster box equivalents. So, you can take that 6 million and you can peel it into ETBs and say, okay, well, that's 18 million ETBs, which is a shitload of ETBs, right? But just so everybody's aware, I did misspeak. That is the correct math. I think I said 6 million packs. I meant 6 million booster box equivalents because I just look at everything in lots of 36. It just makes things much easier for comparison's sake. Now, moving on to the rant. And this is for the benefit of the stores that watch this. The stores that don't watch this probably aren't going to get this. I've seen a lot of videos and thumbnails of people outraged at GameStop and pricing and scalping and this and that. Fuck you. You want it cheap? Build a fucking store. You sit on your fucking half-ass job. You all of a sudden there's free money and you're demanding a fucking price. You entitled piece of shit. If you're a store owner, you've eaten shit for years up until recently. You're forced to take Yu-Gi-Oh garbage. You had Paradox Rift that you couldn't dump and lose $20, $25 a box. You're sitting with Magic fucking reprints with that fucking pig Cynthia Williams just printing and printing and printing and then having the fucking balls to undercut distro through Amazon for a year and a half. You've eaten more than enough shit. All these entitled motherfuckers who want free money, fuck them. As Christopher Walken said, fuck them. So, what I recommend you do, and I'm not going to monetize this one because of the language, obviously. Sell by the pack. I would only sell like a sealed ETB. You got to limit it to one. To folks that have been customers of yours for like 6 months. You obviously want to make sure that you're reinforcing the behavior of your locals that come into the store. But without a doubt, you're going to have an unforeseen / obscene number of folks come in looking to see if you're a fucking moron. And you're going to allow them to swoop all your shit. And this is now your time to make hay. All of the amount of time that you've spent staying up until fucking 2 a.m. to run events with a bunch of fucking smelly people that you can't wait to leave, but they have no lives, so they stay there. The amount of shit that you had to eat, like I just mentioned. The amount of politics that you play with distribution. Managing fucking credit card payments and cash flow and a fucking point of sale system. Managing staff. Folks that work in this space, certainly not the most reliable people on the fucking planet, let me tell you. So you've spent years eating shit and dealing with this. This is your time to shine. I highly recommend you price your product, price it 10% below TCG player, price it 20% below TCG player. But if you're pricing this shit at MSRP, the second this market turns, you will be out of fucking business. Now is the time where you have to build the capital base in the war chest, because when it slows down, and it will, may not be today, tomorrow, it will slow down. You are going to need that capital to survive and just go through the cycle all over again. So when these pieces of shit who post videos on the on YouTube talking about how, GameStop $199 is a ripoff, don't fucking buy it there. If somebody comes into your store and they don't like your price, guess where they're going to buy it? Nowhere, because everybody else is going to have the same fucking price. So just fuck them. Tell them to get the fuck out, because you're never going to come back anyway. So there's so many entitled pieces of shit. It's the folks that you see, fucking swooping Target, fighting at Costco. And I don't understand the mentality. I know a lot of folks have done videos on how it's weird to see people flipping cards for $5 when they could get an actual job at Starbucks and make 5 times as much. It's a culture of fucking retardation in this country. And you can't let them get to you, because now is your time to make hay. And again, if you don't do it, if you want to be Danny Phantom and sell for fucking MSRP, that's fine. He's been doing this long enough. Dude's not fucking starving. He might look like he's starving, but he's not really starving financially. It's a fucking joke. But again, he's limiting it to 1 product per person. That's it. So make sure you limit it. Make sure you're only selling at a super discount to your locals, because you want to reinforce that recurring behavior. And don't be afraid to fucking kick people out. Call the fucking cops if you work in a fucking licensed carry state. The world we live in, with all the stores getting robbed, that is not outside the realm of what a sane person would recommend. So anyway, getting into it. Let's start with Flesh and Blood. I don't know if you guys have seen, but their newest set is now selling for like $65 on TCG Player, which is under distro price. It's an absolute fucking shit show. Nobody cares anymore. These guys I've seen so many emails from these pieces of shit to stores threatening them because they're 2 cents below their map pricing. And these are stores that are desperately trying to support Flesh and Blood. And Flesh and Blood just rips their balls off. And they threaten them to take their gem accounts, whatever. Omens is the set. So fuck these guys. In 4 months, they won't be around, because nobody's going to buy the product. And there's nothing they can do to fix it, because they have created such a toxic culture to deal with them. They get everything they deserve. So, Chaotic Dawn of Param. I saw this week, or this past week, for the first time. If anybody knows anything about it, I don't. And quite honestly, I don't have the capacity to research any more games. Feel free to mention something in the comment section. Educate me if you can. It's kind of interesting. Dragon Ball Super. We just had our event for FB10, and it went really well. So if you guys don't carry Fusion World or Dragon Ball Masters, the way that the organized play stuff works is that they send you guys a promo that the winner gets. And yes, you have to give it to the winner. Don't fucking sell it. Don't be that scumbag. Because you're going to make more than you're going to make off that from 2 boxes, basically selling them. It's worth a couple $100. So what we've found is people will show up just for a shot at the card. And then when they're there, they're buying other stuff. And, they're certainly buying packs. And, obviously for pre-release, we're limiting pack sales, I think, to like 6 per person who's there. But we're also selling the packs for, whatever MSRP is, like $450 or $499. I don't know what the price is. But it's definitely worth looking into. And now that you have PhD and Southern carrying it, you have a few more options when it comes to carrying the game. Let's see. Where do we want to go next? Oh, Flesh and Blood. Fuck those guys. Godzilla. I don't know what's going on with these guys. I've not seen any announcement after the card sleeves. And I think my order for card sleeves was like the biggest in total. There were not many of these ordered at all. So they're probably going to be a collector's item at some point. All these products are super expensive now, which is interesting. Moving on, Gundam. So it looks like GDO5, which is the anniversary set, is going to be an absolute fucking banger. I don't know what the allocations look like yet. I'm hoping to God these guys don't double the print run like they have traditionally done for the last couple One Piece sets. I don't think they're going to do that. Again, I've spoken to the guy that runs the Gundam card game multiple times. Is sharp dude. So, he swears up and down that they're going to keep the print runs tight, keep this collectible, which is good. EBO1 has come out. I told you guys there's almost none of it out there. And if you've seen anything on TCG Player, there's none of it out there. So I know people don't like the chibi or little baby Gundams, but the game is going to explode here because there's going to be so much interest into GDO5, which is BPO5. The set that I'm buying personally is Phantom Aria, which is the set 4. And the reason for that is the sell-through is just absolutely through the roof. And there are a bunch of multiple $100, I think a couple $1,000 plus cards as well. So that's just my personal play. That's for my personal collection. I don't have a whole lot of personal stuff because I just churn it through the business, but Gundam is something I think is really cool. Hololive. The summer set doesn't come out till September. I don't really care. We have a bunch of starters. My God. Ayakashi Vermilion. I'll probably butcher the shit out of that. They came out. They're sitting at like $50, which isn't terrible. But if you go back to the older sets here, they're all sitting at 70, 75. So if you have a play audience, it's worthwhile. If not, I'd probably stay away. Yeah, you can make a couple bucks on TCG Player, but it's probably not worth the capital contribution. Lorcana, holy shit, dude. Attack of the Vine boxes are like $250 now. They're certainly not going to have enough of these printed. For those of you who have talked to your reps at all, for Wilds Unknown, everybody who could take the full 32, which I think is your minimum store allocation if you're playing, because the cases are four boxes. They were taking like 8. So it was really easy to get Wilds Unknown, especially as it was moving up, because a lot of stores just don't pay attention to shit. Because, well, nobody gives a shit about Lorcana. But Attack of the Vine, everybody's taking everything. So it's going to be really, really tight, and it's going to be mayhem. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if there is true organic demand in the LGS, or if it's just going to be a race to fucking zero on TCG Player, because once these guys realize that, hey, you know, it's like the Travolta meme, where it's just, I forget what movie. It's Reservoir Dogs. They're going to be looking for people to pay $250, and those people are only on TCG Player. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully there's sell-through locally, which would be great. My Little Pony second set comes out at some point here. Not until August, so who cares? One Piece, EB06. So we had the EB03, which was a heroine set that apparently half of the product, not a half of the product, but like 9% of the product was first said to be burnt to the ground. Then everybody found out that it was actually stolen in a port somewhere. But EB04 and EB05 were included in, I think, OP14 and OP15. So now we've fast forwarded to EB06. So get your organized play scheduled. They are going to close it early. They're just going to, because they're going to run out of pre-release stuff, especially with all the new all the new stores from Southern and PhD. Oh my God, this is January 2027, which is terrifying. So moving on, I have not seen OP17 allocation yet. I would imagine we'll start to get that in 2 weeks or so. So that's going to be interesting to see what the print runs really are. Now, as I said before, the 2 new distributors were told that what they're going to get is going to be somewhere around a quarter of what they get for Gundam. So that makes me believe that it's going to be pretty tight, which is certainly a positive at this point. Let's see, Riftbound. I said this today to somebody in Discord, and this just tells you how, I want to say, misplaced the reprints have been in this thing, because it's a full speed ahead, just ram fucking product down everybody's throat. Origins has eaten up the reprint, and it started to move up over $200. Spirit Forge is like $145. Unleash, nobody fucking wants to touch with the 10-foot pole. It's like $110. There's just too much of it. The best performing product are the brick proving grounds. Those are pushing $60, $65 now. I think distro price was like $23, but those were as low as $40. And the reason for this, in my opinion, is there's a lot of sell-through on this stuff. There's still a ton of sell-through. There's a ton of demand. So the demand side of the game is healthy. It's the supply side that's way fucking smashing the market. But Proving Ground's got the smallest reprint of everything else. So they're moving up the quickest, which logically you would think it was Origins. But Origins only went down like 185. So we're only sitting at 200. And there's what I don't understand is there's so much product selling from TCG Player every day. And there's always a massive imbalance between the last 30-day sales and how much is listed. And every day there's like 50 boxes that sell and there's 50 boxes that are replaced. I don't know where they're all coming from. It's bizarre. But, you know, if you look at the sell-through on TCG Player for Origins, it's got to be like 9,000 boxes right now, which is, it makes me want to vomit because it's like 50% more than OP13, which is literally the hottest set in the history of TCGs up until 30th anniversary. So that's just how exorbitant the print runs from these clowns have been. So they need to pull it back. They need to add the value into the cards or into the product, or quite honestly, they're just going to go the way of flesh and blood and nobody's going to give a fuck. And we're going to get new sets and people are going to say, fuck you. It's not worth anything. These guys can't be trusted. And that's going to be that. So, yeah, we're kind of at a crossroads here with Riftbound. And honestly, if they do another wave of print runs, I think most stores are just going to drop it. And then they're not going to be able to stop it in time. And then they're going to have two sets printed with probably 5 times too much product. And then you have the Monarch effect, if you will. So that will be that. Shard bugs. So I think I mentioned to you guys 2 weeks ago that the creator Shardbugs sent me something to look at. I haven't gotten to it. I apologize. I need to at some point. Speaking of not having anything to look at, sorcery, there's still nothing there. There's no plan. Star Wars is dead. Union Arena. I do want to talk about this because I had an interesting conversation today. And the product prices continue to move up here. And very similarly, I mean, not to the extent of the Dragon Ball games, but these guys send promos, and the winner promos, the runner-up promos, they have value. So if you run games, people are going to come just for the promo. Now, the downside of that is that you're going to get a bunch of people like the scumbags that are going to come and try to swoop your store for 30th anniversary that are just there for the free money promo. So you're going to have to filter that out one way or another. But I do want to talk about the Nikke set Precious Booster. So I've talked about this for a while now because this is interesting because this is like it's like the NC-17 version. What is it? Striptease was the movie like back in the day. It's like the NC-17 version of Nikke. So the curves are there. There's just a little bit more clothing. So it's a Bandai filtered version, which is hilarious because they don't fucking filter anything with One Piece. So it's an interesting irony there. The set's out in Japan and it's doing reasonably well. I think the cards are fantastic. We'll see how much of it sells here. I'm guessing there's going to be far less of this set than there was for the initial Nikke, which by the way was like 60 or 60, 70 bucks now. For the longest time, there was just so much product and it was dead money. But I would definitely keep an eye on this one because it's going to be interesting. Let's see. Last one here. I want to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Real quick. And then I'm going to hit Weiss for a second. So, Chaos Origins, I think it's out now. Yeah, it came out Friday. The box prices are holding up reasonably well. They're like 76 bucks. It's going to be interesting to see how the singles hold up now that they have, what is it, the Starlight Rares with the full arts. I don't know if they're serialized or not. Quite honestly, I don't care. You know, we ran a test sale on it tonight. And, you know, we sold out, and granted, we only bought like 100 boxes. But you know, having it sell out was interesting. Now, it was effectively at cost plus a couple percentage points, but it was a test to not get my face ripped off and see if people had demand. But what I do want to talk about is Magnificent Monsters. This is the big boy set with the serialized cards that everybody wants. I hadn't realized that the individual boxes had plummeted down to like $55. Now, when I say plummeted, the cost on these are like $22 a box. So, you're still just over 2x, but for the hottest set in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh, something that is probably, people are the most eager to see this set than any set in a long time. I would expect the price to perform a little bit better. So I think it's more a factor of all the stores that have just gotten their balls ripped off for the last 2 years. They're scared shitless because they're afraid if Yu-Gi-Oh's again, you take the profit now and you move on. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with this one. And then last of all, let's see. So Weiss. So again, was talking to a king of the weebs, I'll call it. He'll shoot me a text. I'll probably laugh at that. His store is big into Weiss and a lot of the weeb stuff. He does a lot of importing from Southeast Asia, and he's actually the person that got me to buy Brown Dust 2 in Japanese. If you haven't seen it, pull the cards up. Brown Dust 2 makes Azure Lane and Nikke look like you're at church. So, and those boxes are selling for like $80 on eBay, which is fascinating. But with Nikke, I believe they just spoiled 3 options for what the AGR is. The AGR is the autograph rare. There has not been an autograph rare in English ever, I believe. And what this is, it's an ink autograph on card with serialized. I can't even talk, serialization. So that's probably going to be a banger. Now, the print run for this is, my understanding is, it's about the same as what the first Nikke is, the first wave of first Nikke. What I don't know is, with Nikke 1, they reprinted the first print run, and it was an identical set. Now, the configuration of the case was a little bit different. How are they going to handle the autograph rare? If it's not there, then the first printing is going to have a pretty significant premium. And by the way, the first Nikke set is sitting at $77, I think, right now on TCG Player, and it's actually selling better on eBay. So it's certainly worth something to take a look at, especially when it comes out in September, if the prices are low enough. So let's hit Pokemon first. I'm going to end with Magic. So I'm going to drop a little spoiler for the 3 of you guys that haven't turned this off because you're so mad you can't steal 30th anniversary from stores that earned it and flip it for free fucking tendies. By the way, if you're mad, look in the mirror because you're the fucking problem. So, okay, we got Pitch Black coming out in 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. So allocations are set for that. Looks all the allocations except for one are set for that. And I don't know what's going on, but that's okay. First partner collection, most of these are done. Mega Forces tins allocations have started to move out. The Mega Forces tins are a little bit on the lighter end, or maybe it's the Mega Forces tins are normal. The Ascended Heroes tins are a little bit on the lighter end, which is certainly interesting. But with this 30th stuff, the packs are going to be $20 at release. They're going to be $17 at release. So if you take the pack price, just best case, take $15 times the number of packs in the set. That is what the price should be. People are bitching and moaning about the UPC. There's 30 fucking packs, 29 regular packs, and then one pack that's theoretically the same as one of the packs in the illustration collection. Now, it's not apples to apples, but if they did it 3 times now, they could probably hit a home run here. So if you're looking at 30 packs, $20 a pack, they're $600. They just are. Just fucking accept it. And by the way, the MSRP on the UPCs is $200. So that's only 3 times MSRP, which we're not talking 5, 6, 7 times. And yes, three times is a stretch. But there's so many broke ass Timmies out there that just see the dollar amount that can't do simple fucking math. And then like, oh my God, the price is fucking terrible. Then don't buy it. Get a fucking job. Spend your time elsewhere. You probably don't have your priorities right. So, okay, I'm done ranting about these fucking assholes with Pokemon. And then we have these celebration tins. The one item that I think is really, really interesting, and I don't know if they have all the pictures of it here, the battle decks. So there's 3 of them. So there's Zeraora, Victini. I think there's a 3rd iteration. But for those of you who don't know, these are the Marnie's Morpeko promo, the Ghastly promo. These are the promos that a lot of folks who like to buy out singles go for, because the product is generally printed less than everything else, because battle decks don't really sell for shit. It was, the Steven and Marnie deck, and then was it Gengar and, oh my God, I care so little I don't even remember. It was a pink card. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So these are probably going to be able to have recently cheaply, because everybody else is going to be focused on this other shit. So it's certainly worth taking a look at those. Now, moving on to Magic. And now all but 4 people will click off the video, which is perfect. So Hobbit allocations, have only gotten them from two places. My understanding is one of the places was waiting to include Marvel in the spend, because a lot of stores pulled back on Marvel. Now, I'll believe it when I see it. It will be the nicest thing that a distributor has done without something in return, at least ahead of time. Like, they'll give you something nice and demand you do something else, or not demand, but but buying a bunch of stuff that nobody else wants, and then getting a benefit for it, other than your normal allocation, which, again, the timing doesn't match up here, because with a lot of these guys, the allocations would have been pulled before Marvel was paid for. It's a really, really cool thing, and I really hope it's true, because it's phenomenal. But the Hobbit allocations look fine. They look very similar to Marvel. So we'll see. We should get. These are 814. Probably not going to get them this week, except for the 2 we already have. Reality Fracture. No idea. I think I told you guys the 4 Star Trek names for the commanders. I'll pull it up real quick. I'll drop a little spoiler again for those of you who are in the back, and then I'll drop a big spoiler. Yes, this is the old email to myself from myself, or vice versa. Where the fuck is it? Okay, so we're going to have collector commander decks for Star Trek. It's going to be Federation Fleet, Landing Party, Klingon Fury, and We Are the Borg, which is pretty fucking cool. I'm not going to lie. And it's interesting because they're only skipping one set with commanders, which is which is the Hobbit, which is probably the one that everybody wanted, but it's the one that they least had to have interest in. So that's super, super interesting. And I think more interesting, when you look at the, I'm going to say this very nonchalantly, when you look at the 2027 Universes Beyond sets, it looks like they're going back to, and nobody's going to believe this, New Capenna, the Kaldheim's going to be the late season one, and the plane that Mirage and Visions is on, which is, and I think Weatherlight too, which is absolutely phenomenal. So, I can't wait for them to actually announce this shit, because that's going to be fucking cool as hell. So for those of you who think Magic is dead, next year is going to be bigger than this year. And it is what it is. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord. Long one tonight because I had a lot to talk about. But hopefully you had a good fourth, and we'll talk later.